Hello, this is Brandon Johnson. This is my Module 8 case study for EDL 853, Get This Child Out of My Room. Quick overview of the case and some of the key components of the case. First of all, the student involved is Carl Hughes. He is a student labeled with a behavior disorder, and he has experienced some recent change in behavior with the divorce of his parents. Mr. and Mrs. Hughes, these are Carl's parents who have recently been divorced. Miss Hughes currently works 50 plus hours a week to support her children, and Mr. Hughes, the father, is not very involved with raising the kids. Miss Nancy Taylor, this is Carl's classroom teacher, and she has expressed the feeling of wanting Carl to be removed from her classroom. Miss Susan Green, this is the school's new special education teacher. She's in her first year of teaching, and she is replacing a longtime special education teacher within the school. This is all happening at Schuyler K-12, which is part of the Fulton School District, and Fulton is one of 16 school districts covering a rural area of over 800 miles. The district has one superintendent who splits time with 1 day per week in each township, moving around from school to school. And the district shares resource services such as psychologists, nurses, social workers, etc. So needless to say, the district is spread very thin. Category 1, what do I know? Well, after reading the case study, I know that Carl is a problem student who has been diagnosed with having a behavior disorder and is on an IEP. His behaviors include being self-abusive, but that has recently shifted to being physically threatening to his classroom teacher, Miss Taylor. I know that Carl has already been placed on a behavior plan of taking away privileges. This does not seem to be working. This plan was established by the previous special education teacher. I know that Miss Taylor, the classroom teacher, wants Carl removed from her room. She is afraid that Carl may become physically aggressive towards her, and she knows that with him being a larger student, that she'll have problems restraining him if it comes to that. I know that an IEP meeting must take place for any sort of change to happen to Carl's behavior plan or IEP. I know that Carl's parents are recently divorced, that it was not the most pleasant divorce. Police intervention had happened. I know that the mom is very busy working full-time, 50 plus hours a week, so there's not much parental supervision around for the children. The father's not very involved. I know the new plan implemented for Carl to leave the room and return when calmed down seems to be working okay, but Miss Taylor is concerned with the outbursts of Carl and the frequency at which they're happening, and just for no apparent reason as to why they happen. And I know that the adults in Carl's life don't seem to want to help in any way solve any sort of issue or help with him. They're just kind of trying to find the simple solution for the problem. What do I need to know? Well, first I need to know, does Carl pose a real threat to any staff or students within the classroom? If so, we would need to make some immediate changes. I need to know, are any medical or therapy services taking place for Carl outside of school? I need to know, should the student be reevaluated for non-medical issues. Um, I need to know, I need to try to figure out why the outbursts are happening and why they are happening so frequently. I need to know who watches Carl most of the time, and are they seeing the same behaviors outside of school? I need I need to know the psychologists and social worker schedules within the district. Are they spread just as thin as the superintendent as far as making it around to the schools, once in a while? Um, and I need to know, are other school placement options available for Carl within the district if he was removed from Schuyler K-12? The problem. I need to figure out why Carl is being so violent towards Miss Taylor, why the outbursts are happening. I need to talk with parents about placement for their son that will give him the best education possible in the least restrictive environment as possible. Try to find a way we can keep him in the classroom as much as possible. Plan of action. First thing we need to do is reevaluate Carl's behavior intervention plan. We need to meet with staff members who work with him and discuss the positives and negatives to the current plan. Ask those stakeholders for the inputs and come up with any possible changes. We need to try to document his behavior as much as possible, have the teacher and support staff who work with Carl monitor and try to identify trends or similarities between poor behaviors. Try to find, possibly specific times they happen or for specific reasons why they happen. We need to come up with a therapy or counseling plan for Carl. If a social worker or counselor is available for Carl to possibly work with during school hours, and determine the best scheduling time possible for that to happen. And we need to set up an IEP meeting to discuss with the family the changes that will be happening to his plan. Category 3, resolve the issues based on promoting the success of all students. The first thing we want to happen with Carl is full inclusion with possible para support within the classroom to keep him in the classroom as much as possible. Put the new behavior intervention plan in place, possibly remove Carl if we feel like he is going to have an outburst or has an outburst, and try to get him into an environment where he can calm down and then come back to the classroom as soon as possible. Number 2 would be part-time inclusion. Within this plan, Carl would receive instruction within the classroom, but work in a separate room for part of the day. If we can figure out when those outbursts are happening, possibly later on during the day after he gets tired, maybe we move him into that room for the second half of the day. And then the third option would be removal from the school. If options 1 and 2 do not work for Carl and he continues to be a threat towards the staff and students of the school, then he would need to be placed within a new school or somewhere within the district where he could experience success. What was I thinking, feeling, and valuing as I responded to this problem? First of all, what was I thinking? I was thinking that I need to solve this problem for Carl, his classroom teacher, Miss Taylor, and the students within the class that he's in, to provide all of them with the best possible learning experience possible. I need to find ways to help Carl outside of school. If we can possibly get his parents on the same page as far as what's going on with him and to show some sort of support within his education plan, that would be beneficial to him. We need to try to find the reason why these outbursts are happening and why they're happening so frequently, so we could possibly eliminate them from happening and avoid those triggers. What was I feeling? I was feeling like I wanted to help Carl as much as I could, and also want to help Miss Taylor, his classroom teacher, as much as I can. I want to show support to both of them, um, so that they know that I'm here to help. I feel pressure to resolve the issue being a first-year teacher within the school district. I want to try to find the best possible way to solve this issue. And then I feel anger towards the family and the father especially. Um, within the IEP meeting, the father expressed, just let me sign these papers so I can get out of here. I feel anger towards the family and them not wanting to help Carl as much as they can. What do I value? Obviously, as an educator, you have to value the IEP process. For one, it's the law, but you have to find a way to solve the issue for both the student and the teacher within the legal boundaries of the IEP process. I value collaboration. Um, I don't feel like any one person within this case study has the answer as to why or how this problem is going to be solved. So I feel like collaboration must be valued within this, and all parties need to come together to form a common goal to help Carl with his education plan. And I value the creation of a positive, safe learning environment. I feel that all students within the classroom have the right to feel safe at school, and not one student should be able to disrupt that positive learning environment. Some of the unresolved issues. Will the establishment of the intervention plan work for Carl? Pulling him out of the room whenever a disruption happens, will that solve the issue? Will all parties buy in? I know that Miss Taylor, his classroom teacher, has expressed that she just wants Carl removed. His parents, they just want to find the easiest possible solution. And then Carl, he just seems to not really care for uh, being at school or, acting the right way. So we got to get all three parties bought in and into the new behavior plan. And if the student was removed from school, where would they receive FAPE within the school district? Does this district have an alternative school for students to receive their free access to public education? Component 1, promote academic success of every student by enhancing instructional capacity. By establishing the new intervention strategies, we're going to create a positive learning environment for not only Carl, but all of the people involved in the classroom, Ms. Taylor, the students, everybody. We're going to try to establish this least restrictive environment for Carl. By doing this, he'll be able to find individual success within school. And then I'm going to support Ms. Taylor, the teacher, so she can feel comfortable with handling the behavior of Carl and the other students. Component 2, promoting personal well-being. Providing counseling for Carl, the student, to possibly resolve behavior issues, strategies of non-behavior plans to establish a safe learning environment for all parties involved. And then the last part would be removal of the student if the issue does not seem to get better. And by doing so, we would establish a positive learning environment for the teacher and the other students involved. Component 3, enhancing instructional capacity. By enhancing these new intervention strategies, we are enhancing the instructional capacity within inside the room. Collaboration among staff, trying to find ways for Carl's behavior to be resolved, to remain in the school, and by showing Miss Taylor some support and knowing that we are there for her and making sure that her voice is heard. I would like to thank everyone for watching my video. This has been Brandon Johnson for EDL 853 Module 8. Thank you. Bye.